Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sundays Talking Town, the flagship podcast from the platform that's for the fans, by the fans. We don't just ask questions here or ask you to ask us questions. We invite you onto the show to have your say totally unfiltered, totally live. And there's three ways you can get involved with the conversation today. Is the live chat, which I can see already at the corner of my eye is getting really busy. If you're watching on catch up, hello, hope your weekend's been fantastic. Leave a comment, let us know how you're thinking, feeling. And if anything through the show you disagree with or even agree with, do let us know in the comments. And of course, there will be a link to join the live show. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit differently for the first part of the season. We'll see how it goes to about the international break, and then we'll review the situation. But we're live every Sunday, 1:30. We're going to do a normal podcast where the two hard truth lads give their verdict, win, lose, or draw, and say it in the way only they can say it. And then we're going to be live again this evening, 8:45, with The Last Word, where we're going to look at the team, rate the team, and also invite you onto the show to have your say live. So if you don't get on the live platform at lunchtime, because obviously we're going to limit it now to 2 or 3 people, I'm going to try and run to time. I'm going to try and keep it nice and concise. So if I do move you on, I do apologize, but we're going to try and get your point, get the conversation going, and keep that flowing. But if you don't get on at lunchtime, there is always the evening show where we're going to be live reviewing the team and inviting you on to the platform. Right. Crunch has just set a 250 like target. I'll pop that on the screen. So like the show, share it with all your friends and family, subscribe to the platform if you haven't yet done so. We had a whole raft of new subscribers over the last couple of days, which is absolutely fantastic to see. If you're not yet one of them, absolutely why not? And as I always say, if you can go one further and become a Talking Town Fifth Stander, then please do so. $4.99 a month. I think it's great value for the whole raft of shows that you get. Scan the QR code. That'll take you to our Kofi site, or hit the links in the description or in the live chat right now. So I put on social media 3-word review. I want every single game on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, I have to make these graphics in advance. All right. I'm one person. I can only do so much while also trying to maintain a home life. So I had Harry Clark on it. I had a couple of people say he didn't play. That is a great 3-word review in itself. But you got to guess in this game. And I guessed and I hoped that he would play, but he didn't. So how did you rate Janoy Donatian's performance? Do let us know whether you come on or in the comments. But we'll go over through a few 3-word reviews to kick us off. Kerry O'Brien on Facebook, total team performance. Instagram, Miss Gland, fantastic start, boys. And Andrew Peck, brilliant, resilient performance. That's a tongue twister on a Sunday afternoon. Let's kick it off with somebody who wasn't there, but has seen the instant replay and is raving this morning about Town TV. The media mogul.
We've just lost the teenagers. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Matt Phillips. Raving you are.
Well, it sounds raving about Town TV.
Well, yeah, there's conversation that you if you go on social media for more than 5 minutes, or any forum that's to do with Ipswich Town Football Club, Town TV is bound to have its own thread of about 1 million questions.
Really?
And last night, you were delighted. Why were you delighted with Town TV last night, Matthew?
Oh, because they got the replay. I was expecting the replay to come up about midnight or something daft. I watched it after the Joshua fight. It was up early evening. So fantastic. So I'll give them a positive there. Now, the negative I put on the Discord in the week was they just ripped for the audio because they weren't streaming the game. They just ripped the TV picture audio and gave you that as to listen to, which is useless without the pictures because it's not radio. It's not radio commentary. So that was that was a negative. But yes, the studio looked brilliant. You got Matt Holland and Ambrose in there, and the 4 cameras and all that. They had a bit of a commentary issue. Started talking like Daleks at about the hour mark for about 10 minutes. So it's still a bit of a teething problem. But the fact they got the game up there and you could watch it quickly, great. Really good.
And quickly, before I bring the cruncher in, what are your starting thoughts for 10? What, as we go into the show today, what's your starting thoughts on how yesterday was? Because Stephen Perry, obviously, great production, pre and post match content, but the game itself,
Yeah.
You.
My 3-word takeaway would be blue tidal wave. That's how I would describe the first half.
Tasty.
It must have been exhilarating to watch in the stadium. Look, I'm watching it, knowing the score and everything and what's gone down. So I'm watching it with a slightly different context. To actually be in the stadium with that buzz and you could see all the orange shirts, the blue shirts in the stand, and you got this kind of the different look of the stadium now, isn't it? You got the new pitch, which looks very good on the TV, by the way. You can see it where it's threaded in, proper Premier League looking pitch. You got where it used to be adverts in the cob holders all blacked out, exits blacked
looks
out.
good.
So different division, different vibe. Yeah, I'm sure it was very, very exciting. Mike Woods had my ticket yesterday. He sounded like he was buzzing. So
he did, and after the game, he had great delight in telling us that the neighbours around you would rather Mike Woods came every week and not you. So if you could kindly donate your ticket to Michael Woods every week, and
I should question them about this because they're on my WhatsApp group. So I should.
I'm
sure they enjoyed Mike's company.
I'm sure they did. We're going to get a few comments. Phil Blundell, afternoon, you lovely people. Top of the league. Craig at Winchester. Great to see you yesterday, Craig. And Phil, thanks for coming on the post-game show.
Is this now? This was Craig at Portsmouth, and now it's Craig at Winchester.
He's moved to Winchester. Ooh, great day yesterday. Good to be back in the Championship. Hopefully, I've never actually been to Winchester. It might not be a great place, but it sounds lovely. Like,
isn't there a rifle? Isn't there a rifle called the Winchester? You see that in Westerns or Winchester?
No idea. Rob Holmes. Afternoon, everyone. Hope we're all well. Yesterday was good day being a Town fan, wasn't it? Excellent performance from the lads. Lewis, rate KJ and Knight was a masterstroke by McKenna. Easy option would have been Freddie. McKenna saw Stoke's weaknesses, and KJ's pace and work rate wrestled momentum back when we were up against it. Keep the comments coming in. A 3-word review on Twitter from Rob was best in years. Cruncher, was that the best in years?
The Cruncher, Richard Moss.
You're talking utter fucking.
Is that getting more family friendly?
Right.
But
the Winchester. Who remembers the Winchester? What film was the pub in, Matt?
Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a film.
No,
anyway, my 3-word review.
I swore. Yeah, no, well, your 3-word review, but also best in years.
This man.
Harness.
Hats off, Harness.
Hats off.
Because he's had a lot of stick lately.
He has.
No, I see people on the socials, Matt, on Friday. When we were at Chelmsford, by the way, we might touch on that a bit later. People saying, keep Kyle Edwards over Marcus Harness. Keep Kyle Edwards. Well, Kyle was going out the door, and Marcus Harness played very well yesterday when he came off the bench.
He played incredibly well. But as the 3-word review on Twitter from Rob Weldon, Rich, best in years. This morning, after church, we had great conversations with people who watched the show. Big up. But also, everyone was buzzing, saying, best in years I've seen. We dominated. We were so good. Was it the best in years, Rich? Because I really feel it was.
We were chatting, weren't we, just before we started, before you come in, Matt, and it's probably, if you look back, not had a lot to go on the last probably. Well, look, there were some good days under McCarthy. The football was a lot different than it was now. We all enjoyed winning because that's what you go to football for. But I'd say this football is probably, at the minute and yesterday, Matt, probably the best since George Burley was there.
It's got that vibe to it, hasn't it? Yeah, very exciting, exhilarating, quick, rapid, tempo, all those kind of things. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, certainly watching that first half yesterday. Very good.
Should we start with the stadium? Because obviously that's the first thing people see when they arrive at Portman Road, Rich. From the cobblestone perspective, right? New wall, new paint on the walls. Steps still not very good, but we'll ignore that. Toilets have hot water. Hallelujah.
It did on Wednesday. It did on Wednesday when I went in.
Well, it did.
Not the one you went in. Yeah, what were you in? Block B?
Block B, yeah. Next to the drama. The pitch looks fantastic. The blue astro around the pitch contrasts well. The paintwork, the new doors underneath the wooden hut now with a security guard outside. I mean, there's been some money spent, probably the transfer kitty. But what are your thoughts on the stadium, Rich? Because I think it looks absolutely top drawer.
It looks, not the word, it looks clean. Not clean, but
fresh,
really
crisp.
clean and crisp. And I see the video package they put together, all the stuff they've done. I think even the Hall of Fame, Martin, that's been done out.
It has.
But they did say, like the Cobbo, where they've blacked that all out and other bits, there is room for advertising now, Matt. Out the if you go down past the Cobbo towards the Sir Alf Ramsey, they're in that corner. where they've there's some big like sections up there, obviously, where they can take them out when the lorries come in and out. But look,
Nice.
it's not end day, Martin, since the previous owner. And I was talking to Colin on Wednesday, and it's just like a bit of TLC that the ground's been crying out for years. And you see, before the season, they were cleaning the roof, I think, Matt, on the Sir Bobby Robson stand. You know, it's just little things like that. You know, it's like when you have a house at home and you get, say, a little leak in the roof, and you think, oh yeah, I'll just leave that, and then it gets worse. But we fixed it all. It looks great. And another issue where the fucking transfer budget's gone. It's gone on that bloody traffic management system. New cones. There's road signs. There's vans. There's flashing lights. There's bloody people in bloody high-vis jackets everywhere. But yeah, joking aside, stadium looked fantastic. It was great in the sun as well, Martin. You know, with all the blue and orange shirts. And we were talking before we started. There was a post on Twitter, wasn't there, from a Stoke fan saying he hadn't seen such colourful stadium for such a long time. So look, fantastic. Long may it continue.
Let's crack into the first half then, gentlemen. Stoke, many people from when we did our predictions were saying this could probably be a draw when we were asking them for their points return in August.
Yeah.
Matt yourself said that.
Yeah.
For my money, Matt, we were absolutely dominant in that first half. And you know, as Alex Neil has really said, and he said it quite well, they lost every individual battle. It could have been a hatful. But Town flew out of the traps. Such a dominant team. Talk me through that first half from your perspective, because I loved it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I thought Alex Neil spoke a lot of sense and was really honest in that post-match interview. Not something you've always got when we was in League One, was it? Kind of excuses. I mean, look, you can only... did Ipswich's tempo and energy take them by surprise? I'm sure it wouldn't have taken Alex Neil by surprise, but maybe it took their players by surprise a little bit, because obviously he makes that sub, doesn't he, after 30 minutes. But we absolutely took them to the cleaners. It was unbelievable to me that, you know, a team that's floated around mid-table, spent, you know, the last 4 or 5 seasons, spent a bit of money in the transfer window. And of course, who's the guy they bring on? Our man Wesley, 20-odd million striker. Talk about a step up from what we've been playing. I don't think it was a different performance for Town. It was against Exeter in terms of how we got forward and, you know, looking to get on the front foot. And, you know, Morsey and Luongo, I saw them as sort of maestros, conductors, getting the quicker plays in, you know, your Broadheads, your Burns, Leaf down on the left-hand side. That's why they took that Chiquinho. Probably why they took him off, I think. Couldn't live with Leif Davis. So hats off to everybody. Fantastic first half performance. It was one that, you know, it was up there, and you said it, Rich, with the George Burley performances going back, you know, when we first got into the Premier League, and it certainly had all the hallmarks of that era.
It did. I want to talk about that substitution, Rich, because obviously Phil Blundell in the chat says unbeaten in 22, and we are, and we're rocking and rolling. But that is actually what I thought the Championship would bring, where League One doesn't. I really thought in the Championship, where you've got my player versus your player necessarily won't win you the game, whereas in League One it kind of does. Let's be honest. It's going to be tactical. And Alex Neil, to his credit, saw a situation where it wasn't working, and he made a change. And tactically, you could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to get a pacey player up against Burgess, who, if we're all honest, is a good defender, but he's not blessed for his pace. And he was trying to give the two centre-halves a mountain of a man in Wesley to deal with. And tactically, after that, we struggled probably to adapt with it. 10 minutes after half-time, certainly. And then McKenna himself made a few little tinkles, made a few little tweaks, and we grew back into the game. But that's really what I thought the Championship would bring, that tactical battle. And we had to make a little bit of adaptation, didn't we, once that happened?
You know what Wesley makes me want to do, Matt? Because we're right near the dugout. So he's there, gets called back, goes running past us, takes his shirt off. He makes me want to go to the gym. He is absolutely stacked.
He's a mountain. He's an absolute mountain.
He's an absolute mountain of a man. But
and when he came on, Rich, I thought this is going to be really interesting, because Wolfie, we've often said on this platform, is not known for his physicality. It's going to be a really tough situation. Talk to me about Wolf, because you give him man of the match, and I thought he back pocketed Wesley like you wouldn't believe. If Wesley's the mountain, Wolfie was the hound.
Yeah, I think he gave the ball away once in the whole game, Mike. I think that was in the first half. What I like with him as well, when he go up to win a header, he wasn't just heading it anywhere, Matt. He'd angle his headers. He's really learned, and I think he's one who, look, he was out in the cold, Martin, you know, under the previous manager, and I think he started the first game when, well, Kieran was there, but he wasn't actually in charge. He played the Sunderland game, didn't he? And he's not really looked back. He hasn't. I was going to say that he played in every game, but he hadn't, because I remember we all remember Cambridge away last year when he played Keogh and Edmonton. Yeah, but he's been one of nearly the ever presents, and he's just got better. And I think in this league, he can. If you listen to Luke Chambers, Matt, I think when he was on Live to Pitch with Mark Murphy, he was talking about Wolf, and he said he thinks he can play the level that he's at, and if he keeps improving as he is at the minute, could he play in the Premier League? Yeah, that's a big step up, Martin. But yesterday he showed what he was all about, and when he got in the changing room, Matt, he took his shorts off. Hang on. There's Wesley. Because he didn't get a look in, did he? He didn't get a look in. And you think when he came on, the size of him, you think, blimey, this is going to be a test for Wolfer, you know. And it's nice to see that he's learned. But look, all over the pitch, Martin, and you're talking about tactically, we had to tweak it a little bit. And then we did do in the second half. Because if you look at the stats yesterday, Matt, I think we only had 44% possession in the whole game. Second half was 30. Second half was 35, and we played a little bit in the second half for a spell there, a bit like the away team. You know, Stoke had quite a lot of the ball, but that's why when the substitution was made, and Matt, you put it in the WhatsApp group, there was probably around the stadium, and you see Caden Jackson coming on up front, and there's a lot of people shaking their heads, thinking, going on it. But we knew that we were playing on the break, and you need that pace. And it showed with his goal and his work rate. And both subs yesterday, when they came on, at Sunderland, I think we struggled, Martin, with the players coming off the bench. But yesterday, you needed to keep up the intensity that the players had shown before. Because you look at George Hurst, he was absolutely knackered when he came off. He was cooked. But he shows me, Hurst, and he didn't get a lot of the ball yesterday, Martin. I thought what he'd done really well. But there's a couple of occasions in the first half. I think it was over the Cobbold side down by you. He's over the corner flag. Got no right, but he just chases the player down and it goes out. He wins, he knocks it out for a throw in. It's little bits like that where we don't give a team a minute on the ball, Matt. I said yesterday on the full-time show, Lee Davis, if you watch that game, I think it's on 87 minutes down in the corner by the North Stand. He sprints 30 yards and closes somebody down, I think. We'll go in towards the end of the game when the game's 2-0 and we're probably TJJ at the game yesterday. There you go.
I'd rather not sign TJJ again, but that's just me. But Rich is right, and I think maybe that's something as fans, Matt, we'd have to sort of grow accustomed to in the Championship, where it is that back and forth pendulum type of game where you might start strong, then they're going to come into it and make you play the away team for a period. Then you're going to come back because so far in 2 games, that's what it's been like. It's been that pendulum.
It has. Yeah, surprisingly so. I mean, look, we said on paper we thought Stoke had good players. I mean, in when they're actually in the real time and you see someone like that Vidigal who's got good touches, is he really someone you want? Is that really someone Alex Neil wanted in there? Because he's doing the Selena for us in League One. He's giving you flicks, he's giving you dummies. We don't want that. We want to get the ball forward and get the ball into the box. So I think from that perspective, good player, but wasn't offering them much. And Wesley obviously did change the game a little bit. I mean, he would do that, wouldn't he? If you're worth 22 million or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Huge, absolute huge unit. But yeah, you are going to see that. And I think it is going to require patience and a different thinking in terms of how the game. You're playing against better players that have played in the Premier League, players that have been around the block a bit, like that Daniel Johnson, that Ben Pearson, who I think they were both at Preston, actually, weren't they? That Travers was on loan from Bournemouth when he won one of the youngest keepers to play in the Premier League or something. So, they've been in and around good teams, good coaches and all that kind of thing. I'm just glad we didn't have the nervous 13 minutes that we had at the stadium. Like, it was only 4 this time, wasn't it?
It was. I was very surprised at that. I was able to leave after 1 thinking 2-0, job done. Let's go and get set up for the post-game show. Woody Wood, midfield was like an engine yesterday, purring. Morsey at the heart of everything happening, from breaking up play to slide rule passes, class, top performance.
That's a question for you both. Because Taylor did come on, didn't he, at the end? Does Taylor get into this team? When will Taylor get an opportunity to get in this team? Are we thinking injury?
Don't start.
Because at the moment, Longo and Morsey can't seem to put a foot wrong to me. They barely lose the ball.
Don't start me. Don't start me after a win, because I still... Massimo is good. I think Taylor will be better and bring a lot more to the team in terms of ability to get around the pitch. Because there's times when I watch Massimo and I think I've seen Snails run faster, and there's times when I look at him and I think he's a world-class player.
He
Keeps
reads the game fantastically well,
control.
doesn't he? That gives you they say that if you can read the game well, read the
That's
ball's
the
game,
thing.
it gives you an extra yard. Ditto Broadhead. I don't know if you caught this in the stadium, but there's a passage of play inside our half where he gets the ball and he kind of loops it down the channel to Burns. I mean, the vision of just being able to send that down and it land just in front of him, I just thought was, that's why he's such a good player.
This season, guys, I think we're going to be, I know it sounds a weird thing to say, we're going to be more dangerous, Martin, without the ball. Because as soon as we nick that ball, we're off, and you just have to look at that second goal, Matt, yesterday. Watch it back. You can watch it back over and over again. And this is where people who absolutely shit themselves at the game and get rid of the ball. And AD Croucher had like a little bit on the post-game show, Martin, saying yesterday about, I just want him to lump it sometime. Like when we had Mark, I said to the guy, Stuart, who sits behind us, remember when we had Mark Ashton on the show? What did he say? What did he say? We're not going to lump it. We're not going to kick it. That was his exact words that he said. And this is what we do. We're brave when we have the ball in possession, starting with your goalkeeper. And look at that goal. He plays it out. I think it's to Luongo. Then he plays it to Burgess. Harness does a great turn, Martin, in the middle of the pitch. And that doesn't need to go underrated, that, because he's turned. Then he opens the space up. And then we're away. And then Chaplin. And look, it's a great ball. It's nice to see Wes Burns pick somebody out.
Yes, it was. And on Massimo, I'm a big Taylor fan, so I'm always going to try and edge towards Taylor. But on Hladky, and I want to come to that because Jamie Legg in the chat says Hladky worries me with his hospital passing from defence. Going to get in trouble. Burgess yesterday. There was an incident.
That's how we play. We're brave. We're brave when we have the ball.
Well, this is what I was going to say, because there was an incident in the second half where Hladky plays the ball to Morsi, and it's a really tight pass. It's a really tight pass, but Morsi gets there first, turns, and away he goes. And the first thing I noticed after that pass, when the groans around the stadium of "ooh," was McKenna absolutely applauding Hladky, because that's what McKenna wants. He wants that bravery from his goalkeeper, because what happened was it went into Morsi's feet, he turned, and suddenly you've got Burns, Broadhead, Hurst, Chaplin, all ahead of the play, and you're on the other team. So as fans, Matt, we've got to get used to it. And I thought Hladky yesterday was a real asset to the football team with a ball at his feet, but also that save in the first half that kept it 1-0.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent again. I mean, look, he's not played league games, has he? Now let's break it down. He's come back into the fold, first league game in a couple of years, at the Stadium of Light, vociferous, 40,000, whatever it was. Then his first game back, full house against Stoke. I think he's done great. I mean, he looked like he was at home in the side to me. And, McKenna has said previously that he's comfortable with the ball in his feet. I think you saw that yesterday. Made some good saves. I think he's doing great. And like you say, he's only when they're distributing the ball from a goal kick, wherever it want to be, he's only doing what McKenna's asked him to do. Hence, what might look like flying by the seat of your pants moment, and McKenna's applauding it. They want to see that. That's how they want to start the ball from our goal to the opposition's.
But it wasn't just his short pass either, Rich. I really felt Hladky, and we love Walton, don't get us wrong, but I really thought he saw the game a lot better than Christian yesterday, in the sense of some of the balls he was playing diagonally out to the fullbacks, to Chaplin in the centre circle. That's great goalkeeping, because that's immediate pressure. Then you're able to turn and get on the front foot against the side who was trying to press. And Hladky really, really impressed me yesterday with his ball at his feet, Rich. He really did.
I think nowadays, and I think we said last season when he played in them couple of cup games, he's probably better with his feet than Walton. And I think nowadays with goalkeepers, it's nearly as important, Martin, what they do with their feet as they do with their hands. Because they're starting the moves. And there is a lot of times when we play balls and you think, blimey. But it's all about trusting people, and they trust each other. And Hladky, that he had a dodgy moment, I think, second half, about when he spilled that one, he parried it out, didn't he? Could have caught it. But that
ball moved. That ball moved from my angle.
Two games in, look, he's waited for his chance patiently, and he probably thought it would never come, Matt, and he'd always probably be a number 2 at Town. And we've spoken about it on here before. It wouldn't have surprised me in the summer if he said, Kieran, I want to go somewhere and play first team football. But now he's got that chance, and he's going to get a good run at it now, because they've not really given us a time scale, have they, Martin, on Walton's injury? They said it's going to be months instead of weeks. So we've really got to forget about Christian Walton at the minute. And Halaki's going to be the number one. And do we sign another keeper? Maybe.
No.
Well, no. You say that Halaki gets injured. You're down to Slicker and Nick Hayes.
You liked Slicker, though, didn't you? Did you not? When he played against...
I'm saying like a third choice. You might need someone... what's the rules on emergency loans?
I think you can. I think you can. I mean, I'm
goes beyond the window, does it not? I think it does.
I believe it does. I actually don't think he will. I think from history with McKenna, Matt, this is the manager that we really could have done with instead of McCarthy, because he loves to develop within. He sees a talent and he wants to work with that player and make him the best player he can be. You can see that when he came into the football club with some of the players he worked with, he kept with. Like Jackson, for example, was on the periphery. He saw something in Caden, and Caden's become a real asset and a real threat under McKenna. The same with Wolfie. He's developed him into a centre half that he is today. He could have easily gone to get a centre half at any point to play, or could have played Fridge and Burgess. I think the same with Slicker. He's identified a player with Slicker with paid an undisclosed fee, and I think he'd have no problems, none whatsoever, working with that player and saying if he's playing, he's playing.
I totally agree with you. I mean, look, McCarthy didn't have the luxury of A, money, or B, this ownership.
No, but give McKenna Teddy Bishop when he was young. I would have loved to have seen a Teddy Bishop under a McKenna.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Was it Hyam who come through under McCarthy?
Yeah.
In centre mid there. Yeah, no, I think you're right. But again, you come back to the player trading model, don't you? You buy Leif Davis for, what is it, a couple of mil, and sell him on probably to a Premier League team, whatever it might be, in a few years for X amount. So there's the player trading model in there. But yeah, I totally agree with you. That's their look. McKenna does come from a youth coaching background. That's how he started, wasn't it? Forest, Spurs, United in the academy there, then moves into the first team setup. And I think a lot of how he approaches himself, McKenna, when he talks like interviews, he talks about the group, he talks about individuals, is very much how England youth coaches would speak, in terms of, it's not about individuals, it's about how we all progress forward. And that I think has been a big team building thing for us. Because he doesn't talk about individuals, does he? He talks about it's the group, the attributes you bring, the player profiles. I think that's very much a youth coaching kind of, within Premier League clubs and internationally. But yeah, it's great to see people want to see lads coming through, and like your Cameron Humphreys and your Elkan Baggots coming through at some point, and learning off McKenna and making that jump into the first team. We're in a great place of all that, I think, at the moment.
A lot of chat in the live chat. Great comments. Love them coming in. About to drop the link, so if you can come on, if you want to come on, if you've never been on and you're a bit trepidatious, don't be. These two are putty cats, really, and I'll look after you. And every opinion
in the WhatsApp group. Look, we have some brilliant people come on and give their thoughts. It'd be great if we could have some new faces and
more flavour. Yeah,
like you said, Martin, it's hard because you're coming on, you're giving your point of view, and you think, oh shit, people might criticise. Don't worry about it.
No.
Get on, have your say.
I'll look after it, believe me. Yeah. So that's coming very short. Before I do, two more questions to the boys. I'll drop the link in a second. First question is a lot of chat in the live chat about the referee. We had a 3-word review coming in from Heidi that said, Heidi ITFC Oldfield on Twitter, still SHIT refs. Your thoughts on the ref yesterday, Crunch? Because you're a referee, you lose control of games often. Not that the referee did yesterday, but you lose control of games very often.
Children's games mostly.
Children's games
mostly. The first thing I notice is where we sit, guys, is right near the away dugout. Now, these new rules, Matt, you're not supposed to have 2 people in the technical area. Right. For about the first 10 minutes, we had Alex Neil, and I don't know who the guy was, the big tall coach. He was in there. And we were shouting at the fourth official, and he was going, yeah, on that. Well, fucking do something about it. This is the new rules. He shouldn't be in there. Right. Right, let's get on to the ref. 2 times in the first half. What was the Stoke left back? Stuart?
Wasn't it?
Stevens. Edna
Stevens.
Right. 2 times in the first half. Blocked off Wes Burns. Should have been a yellow card.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
3rd time, over your side, Massimo cuts him down just outside the box. So that's 3 fouls he's committed, Martin. Didn't book him.
And 1 in the centre circle.
There was 2 in the centre circle. I can't remember. 1 on Chaplin and 1 maybe on, was it?
On the one guy, I think.
When we were breaking away. Now, for me, right, good fouls. They're good fouls because they break up play. But they're a yellow card.
Yeah, agreed.
Didn't give them. But then when Halaki's taking his time over, straight over to him, 2-2.
So that's it.
Here's a question for you then. Is it the winning team the only people who can get booked for time wasting? Because Halaki and Danashian, for me, weren't taking any longer than the Stoke players.
Yeah, because then the crowd started getting on. There was a couple of throw-ins.
Even a Cobblestone got on. It's bad.
Even Ian Westlake was going, has this referee forgotten his cards or something? That was lewd. They were all yellows, all those fouls you're talking about. But McKenna made a good point, didn't he?
After how many minutes? Was it about 52, 53 minutes?
Ridiculous.
It was time wasting with fucking nearly 40 over 40. What? You wouldn't be time wasting with 40 minutes to go. Maybe if 5 minutes from the end, Martin, I could understand that.
Yeah.
McKenna goes, it's not basketball game, this. We're playing, in hot conditions, high tempo. Why is it viewed as time wasting? He must surely get called up by the referee assessor on that. All those challenges you speak about there, Rich, were absolute yellows. Nailed on. And the Town TV commentary agreed with you. Yeah.
And Wilmot, 16 for Stoke, he couldn't do a single thing wrong. He had a halo around his head. Every time he made a tackle and gave away a foul, he ran away and got nothing. I was like, are you actually going to book him for mugging my centre forward here at some point? Because George Hurst, bless him, as I said before, he starts the game 6'6", walks off 4'3". He gets kicked and kicked and kicked. When are we going to look after him?
Just looking at the stats here, I think they only got one yellow, Stoke. Michael Rose, the centre half. In the first half.
Although right, to the referee's defence, right, when George Hurst is backing in and the defender's holding him, we only see that the defender's got hold of him.
Blue shades.
George Hurst has got hold of that defender as well. Let's not. Because he's backing in. He's got his hands on him. So, the referee, look, that we said before, did we think that the referees would be any better in the championship? No, they're not. I
actually think he got key decisions correct, but he just wasn't booking the players for the challenges, and that changes the context of the game then. Because
there was a spell, wasn't there? In that first 30 minutes, there was a lot of free kicks we were giving away. Stoke were getting a bit frustrated, and I really liked the way that we flew out them blocks yesterday, Martin. I think, did we have about 3 or 4 corners on the trot over from in front of the visitors? You think we really kept them in, and it was what we needed, because it was obviously a full house. Look, we need to touch on next to Block B, Block A. How's your right ear? How's your right ear today?
Well, look, I love a drum. You know me. I'm all for the drum.
But you have to get used to it.
But 75th minute, last night, 3 o'clock in the morning, all I could hear was boom, boom.
Look, I thought it was fantastic.
Are you right by it?
Yeah, he's in Block B.
Look, I've always said the Cobblestone is the heartbeat of the football club, and the North Stands for tourists. It just turns out it's true now, look, because we're rocking, and the North Stand are all sit there with their hands above their head, looking, It's the tourist stand.
Yeah, but we have bemoaned about the whole stadium. I thought yesterday it was really good, and you've just got to keep that intensity up. Mick Mills said, I was listening to the post-game show this morning, guys, and Mick Mills was saying normally he can hear what Brenner says to him, and he said yesterday, maybe it's Mick's age, maybe he's going a bit mutton, but he said he couldn't hear him. He couldn't hear Brenner. He couldn't hear him because it was so loud and so intense.
Great.
I saw on social media that Nathan, the drummer, said he needs to get some.
Yeah, get him some
I think when he buys his pair, can he buy me a pair? Because I need to also, because I love the drum, but yeah.
I don't think going back to the referees, if those Stoke players were on yellows, that changes the context of the game, doesn't it? They might not put in those challenges moving forward because they might go down to 10 men. But I think I actually think he had an all right game in terms of decision making and free kicks. But the cards was weird. I'm sure that good. You should see how he referees next week after he's got the feedback from the PGMO and all that kind of thing. But let's not get too hung up on refs. Nothing we can do about that. There's nothing the players can do about it. I think we're just going to have to accept it.
But you like consistency.
Nah, you're not going to get it,
though, are you?
It's all subjective opinion, isn't it?
It's a different person every week. You ain't going to get it.
When somebody commits 3,000, you're totting them up.
Agreed.
But surely.
I do agree with that. They should have been cards. They should have had more than one card, Stoke, and I think their fans would probably agree with that.
If anyone on this platform knows about giving cards in a referee game or a vast amount, it's that man there. Because this man here loves the paperwork from the five side. He must do, because he's always dishing out yellow cards.
Let us play the game, boys.
He's more cards than a blackjack dealer.
Have you ever booked any parents on the touchlines? You've gone over and given them a red. Back to the car. Back to the car.
Of course he has.
I remember a couple of years ago when I was doing under 18s game, and I had to send this guy off. And where we played, it was in St Ives. It was in like the the big fences, and I had to send him outside because he wouldn't go. I said, "You got to go off. You got to go out there, mate, through the gates. You can watch outside."
You're
Like that.
cruel. You're cruel.
Authority. What
Right,
I like
come on.
about Richie's refereeing is that when he does games and it's people, kids who are watching, who've watched this platform, they actually refer to him as Cruncher. Cruncher
do.
is the corner.
They call me because I ref the knives under 18s, and they all know me now, and they're like, "Crunch, you're having a night. Are you going to give us anything today?"
It's Mr.
Right.
Matthew.
Show me respect. Call me by my proper name, ref.
Exactly.
Crunchy. Joey, JD is a solid backup. Nowhere near as good as Clark, though. You saw that back end. Lewis, JD done well, was targeted by Stoke. Crispy Teabag. JD was
Okay,
pretty good
Mr.
today, I
Bale.
thought. I think
Yeah.
Clark and Burns have always worked fabulously on that wing, but JD works nicely too there. Joey, agreed, 1v1 defending. JD is probably the best at the club, doesn't offer that same attacking threat. We've
No,
got
that's the
people
issue.
waiting. I can't get you all on. I will try and come to as many as I can. If you do not come on,
thing-
remember,
One thing the Gov says: the best ability is availability. JD's fit.
that is
He is.
correct.
Yes.
That is correct. If you do not get on, we are live at 8:45 for the last word, and you are welcome to come on the show there.
What's
There'll be a link.
listening to you doing 2 shows a day?
Well, shall we just say
Oh.
she's not very happy?
Right. Shall we? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We're at the cricket Friday, right? I get a WhatsApp. Gov's got a ticket for QPR, Matt.
I have.
What's happened to it?
Yes, you showed it to me, didn't you?
What's happened?
It's been
What
sold on.
happened was, now this is a
Let's go.
story, all right, all about how
38
my
notes.
life got flipped, turned upside down. I got the ticket, thinking, love it, QPR. You know, I've been buzzing to go to QPR away.
What a day that is.
I got a message about half an hour later from a guy called Alan, who's getting married. And
Come
he's
on
got a
out.
stag do.
Come on
And I
out.
don't like stag do's. Not my cup of tea. But I'm going to his wedding. There's only about 16 of us going. And I've been told I must go to the stag.
Is Al a football fan?
No.
Ah.
No. I like Alan. Alan's a great guy. I just don't like stags. It's too happy. Well, there's happiness. It's rubbish. But you know me, miserable Martin, moany Martin.
Miserable
But
Martin, yeah.
yeah, so I was like,
Is it not enough just to go to the wedding? I mean, big shout out, Alan, and his bride to be.
You could turn
Is
up
it not
later
enough
because you
to
said
go
they're
to
out in Ipswich. You said they're out in town and they'll be out till late. You can turn up after the game.
I can't go out after 10:30, Rich. I'm old.
Yeah, go
Look
straight
at that from
back
London, yeah.
Just drive to Ipswich, go out for a couple of hours, show your
Mm.
face. Off you
You
go
know,
home.
I'll get the train with people who don't like me. You know that. That's just my luck, innit? Hour on a
Is your
train of people
ticket-
calling me an absolute toss.
Is your ticket restricted view? There's restricted view tickets, isn't
I
there?
got no idea. I got so excited to get one. We finished
full
the recording
Don't worry.
Friday morning.
Don't worry. Guess who sold it?
Guess so.
I'll tell you what.
Listen,
Great
Rich
for yesterday, right? Did I message you about them 2 free tickets? There was a guy on holiday, right? He was in Rhodes, Matt.
Ooh.
He messaged me about 12:30. I've got 2 season tickets that are free today to use, right? But the person might have to go to the ticket office to get. So he gave me the seat numbers, and this guy messaged me, and he said, "Yeah, I said just go around and you got the seat numbers, you got his name." And he says, "Have you got his address?" This is about 2:15. So this guy must have lived in Ipswich. So I got his address, right? And I thought the guy who got the ticket. Nick Scott was his name. So he went round, and he just missed the first 1 minute 50 of the game. 2 free tickets.
wow. Late
Bingo.
90s.
Gosh.
In you go. So if anyone can't get to a game, get in touch with the Cruncher. We'll get you there.
Rich
Right.
reminds me of like you know those guys you see on the antique shows when they're like when he was sat next to me at the cricket and the tickets are coming in and he's like doing this and it's who to you now maybe you will get it in all that kind of thing. It was like and he's watching the game as well. He's watching the cricket as well. Multitasking at its greatest, that Rich.
You got to love it.
Multitasking.
yeah.
This is the cricket getting invaded, Gov, by fucking flying ants in
A lot of
Chelmsford.
flying ants and chumps at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, infestation. So on biblical levels.
There you go. There we go. Look, there's lots of chat about Norwich, which I'm going to not ban, but if we can not say mind the gap because it's only 2 games in. But
Did you say, Rich? 4 points from what was it? What they got? 4 points.
from 2 games. They've not exactly had a bad
Yeah.
start, have they? Come on.
Scored 4 at
But-
Southampton.
Only a
for crying out
dodgy
loud.
penalty away. Did you see the Southampton penalty?
I haven't seen any of it.
seen
I'm
it.
too busy.
Adam Armstrong.
Walker Peters, Tom Daly, eat your heart out. 97th minute, Matt.
Adam Armstrong.
Dreadful.
But we are about 16 weeks from the Norwich game. So if we can get to 6,500 subscribers before the Norwich game, we're currently on 4,700. I will do the week's worth of shows that week in a Norwich shirt.
6,500. And I'll tell you another thing. Right. If we
Where
get
did you get a nice shirt
6,500,
from?
6,500, right? Gov can do it in a Norwich shirt, and I will buy 2 tickets for someone to go to the game.
There you go. 6.5. It's not that much in 16 weeks. So get subscribing. I don't want to wear a Norwich shirt, but I'd rather have the subscribers. Right. Comments. People. Let's go to Stephen Parry. Stephen. Let's not stress. Stress about what? Why are we stressing?
No, there's no need to stress. We all wanted a fast start. You know, we all came into the season not knowing what we were going to do. You know, everyone's worried about who we're going to play and whether we're going to play well. And we got that fast start. We've got that good start we wanted. We've got that base to build from. You know, yeah, some of it's probably momentum. I don't think momentum plays as big a role.
Anyone listening on needed subtitles, that is base. How do you say it, Steve?
Base.
Base.
Yeah. No, I'm not Yorkshire.
Alone.
I'm not Yorkshire. I'm Lancashire. We don't go base. We actually win wars. We don't worry about it. But no, it's like we got that fast start, and people keep saying momentum, and I don't think momentum makes as much difference as what people think. You know, if you just look at the likes of Wrexham, you look at the likes of Leyton Orient, they went up with Wrexham with the momentum, and they're getting their asses handed to them. So it's more than just momentum. Momentum plays a role. I'd say 5-10% at most. You've got to be able to do it. And as Crunchy said earlier on, that change for Jackson, I was going, what? You know, but it wasn't just Jackson. It was Harness coming on at the same time, doing 2 different roles. You know, Broadhead coming off for Harness, because I think Broadhead was very attacking. And he was getting tired. So he wanted Harness a bit deeper, Jackson with his pace to push the defence back and make the gap between defence and midfield bigger. And if you look at the second goal, Harness picked it up in the middle, spun his man in a huge acre of space, and the defence was on the 18-yard line. And then it was like 3 against 3. And that was because of the substitution, I think. And like I said, I put on Twitter, look, I'm no manager, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have picked Jackson. I wouldn't have picked Harness probably to come on. But that's why McKenna's a manager. He spotted that, and I thought, kudos. That's what we've not had since Burley. We've not had a guy who can look at a situation and go, we need this, this, and this. I think Mick did, but he didn't have the tools. You know, but you've got to have the tools, but you've got to have that nous. There's no point being a manager. It's a chess game. You know, he makes one move, you've got to make a counter move. And if you can't make that counter move, and I'll argue the same with Southgate, he can't do it. Yeah, you're not going to be successful. You know, if it, you know, he made that counter, that move at first half. He knew his team was getting his ass handed to him, and he made that move, and then we looked a bit shaky. Then McKenna made a counter move, and then it was all us from then on. You know, I think it was perfectly handled. There's just one criticism, and the only negative I can think of is when we're dominant, we need to be clinical. We need to be much, because on another day, when they get their dominance, that ends up 2-1. If we can start being a bit more ruthless, I know we're winning, and it's very hard to say let's be ruthless when you're winning. But on another day, both these games could have gone the opposite way around, you know. And then the decision making about ruthlessness comes into play. We've got to say it as well when we're winning, because as McKenna said, we should have been more up after half an hour, and we weren't. So we've got to look at that, and I'm sure he will, because he's brought it up. But I'm so positive, so enthused. You know, I'm 54. I was dancing around yesterday. You know, when first we went in, I was leaping around like a 10-year-old. You know, that's what football is, and I'm loving it right now. You know, I can hold my head up high and say I'm an Ipswich Town fan, and I love it. You know, I do think we need 2 or 3 more. I think at least a centre back and a striker, or a flexible striker. You know, if TJJ was at the ground, I wouldn't have a problem with him, because he could play that left-hand side role instead of Broadhead, and then the right-hand side role could be Hutchinson. You know, so it covers both. You know, and he can play a number 9 if needs be. It's a flexible option. So I don't have a problem about it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's all positive. We wanted a fast start. We've got a fast start. Let's go to QPR and let's give them one.
I've got a quick one for you, Steve. Let's go quick one first. Talking to someone at the ground yesterday, and they've been heard that Town might be interested in Dane Scarlett, who was on loan at Pompey.
I don't mind him. He's one of them players. No, I'd love to sign him, because I think he's the sort of player like a Davis or someone like that we can develop. I don't know what Tottenham's feel. I don't think he'll ever feature at Tottenham side, but he's one of them players we could sign and develop into something bigger. You know what I mean? So I like him. I thought he did well at
The
Portsmouth.
cat likes him as well, by the sound of
Cat
it.
loves him by the sound of it. Absolutely.
I've got a question for you, Steve. You talk about those 3 players. Do you think Town will break the transfer record in order to get one of those, to fill one of those positions you just referenced?
No, I don't think we ever will. That's not the model. The model is not to spend £5 million on a player and sell him for 10. The model is to spend 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 million and sell him for 10, 20. That's the, you look at what Coventry did. They bought a player for what was it, £1 million sold for 20. They bought Hamer for like 400,000, sold him for 15. That's the model we're trying to do. I don't see that in the, you might be able to go, once you've sold the player for 20, you might be able to go for 4 or 5 million.
Like Brighton, Steve, if you look at that Casado, they signed him for 4.1 million and they're going to sell him for 110 million. Get your head around that.
I've always said, if the likes of Davis and Broadhead has a good season, and so far it's looking good, they could easily be eight-figure players by the end of the season.
Yeah,
they could easily be 10 million each by the end of the season. That means we've made 18 million profit, or 17 million profit on the two of them.
Agreed, yeah.
Then you can invest into what you would argue is a £2-3 million play. It's a process. The whole thing is a process, and we've got to trust the process.
I agree.
If we that's why I think this Armstrong, they're not selling Armstrong, for God's sake. He's just scored 3 goals in 2 games.
They might.
They're not going to sell him, and we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay anywhere near Alan Nixon's 8 million.
Okay.
I'm getting bored of listening to that.
Right, Steve, we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. Great stuff. Just a quick note to say, my live chat screen has broke, so I am monitoring So I am monitoring the live chat via a different method. So do bear with me. I will try and come into your comments, but it's about really. Emerson says defender and striker required for him. Mike D. McKenzie like Scala, always mentioned him after Pompey games. Do we need 2 or 3 more players? Because I think we're now in this situation, gentlemen, where you could very well stick and think you've got a good nucleus and you don't want to disturb it. Let's see how far it goes this year.
That's
now.
correct. I think we have got that. Yeah.
Or you say with a great start, we're actually there or thereabouts in terms of, for me, it's probably a top 10 side. Do you go and tip it over the edge and go and be special and go and get that missing ingredient that perhaps does tip the balance between the top 10 to a top 6?
Yeah, it's a hard. That's a hard call to make at the moment. I actually agree with what Steve was saying there, and I was thinking this during the game myself, where you've got what I called at the top of the show this blue tidal wave. But what happens, and that playing at such a rapid tempo and so much energy across the pitch. But what happens on another day when we go in at half time and it's 0-0? It's not 1-0 because it's much easier to play at that tempo, isn't it? At home when you're 1-up and going to the second half. So what happens on the day when we do find ourselves up against someone who's a little bit better than Stoke and we've not been able to make the inroads that we wanted? Can we keep that? Can we keep that energy? That's hard to do every week, I think, playing at that energy, especially when you throw in, like you said, Rich, was it the first midweek games coming in September, I think? It will be hard to play that style, I think, on the Saturday and the Tuesday. And that is where you might get better, where you make 3 more signings with a little bit of Premier League quality thrown in there. That might just tip the edge to be able to be consistent on that tempo.
But then you look at the first midweek game, Matt. You've got the international break before that, so they've got 2 weeks without a game. Then they go to Wednesday, and then they go to Southampton on the Tuesday. So
yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes. Yeah. Look, I think at the minute, right when we went to the Premier League, did anyone think that Mark Venus was good enough? Jermaine Wright was good enough? We probably didn't, and they played above their level, right? So at the minute, these players deserve the chance to show that they're good enough in the Championship. Some of them have played there. We get that. And others like a Wes Burns, Gov, he's played a few games in the Championship. Now, that's a position I would look possibly to, I'm not saying to replace Wes, but have someone to give him a little bit of competition. Because you've got Caden, but Caden can play like out there, or he can play like he played up front yesterday. But Caden's not really, is he going to be a starter, Gov? I don't think he will. He's more of a player off the bench.
Agreed.
Whereas if we could get someone in, Raksaki, still not gone anywhere, someone like him, because I think the way it's going, it might be that we sign maybe a couple of young loanies, because you're waiting for that Premier League to sort of name their squads, and then you might be able to cherry pick a couple of
Maybe that is what they're waiting for.
Because
That's a good point.
Scarlett, if we were linked with him, you think Tottenham had just sold Harry Kane, so they need a replacement there. Whereas if you may be after him, they might think, right, we're not going to release him until we get somebody in. He knows that he knows these young players, doesn't he, McKenna? Like John Jules. He was a bit of a signing last season who we didn't really know a lot about. But I'm just saying, like last season, Gov, that he obviously knows about him. Would I sign a John Jules? I think he's a decent player. I don't like his injury record, if I'm being honest.
But you've already got a raw player in this is what in Hutchinson. Like I don't disagree with the youth loan route, but it's got to be someone who's contributed, like a Raksaki, because we've already got a Hutchinson who we're developing who's raw. We saw it yesterday, came on, got fouled, stopped. He'll learn that in the game of, Well,
he knows in the Premier League that's probably a foul. That's probably in these youth leagues that he plays, he gets touched, it's a foul. But you got place to whistle.
Yeah, and I just want somebody who's going to really like Plymouth have signed Barley Mumba and Morgan Whittaker. Now they already had them; we were never in for them. But they're two players with history of stats that you can say, right, they've got something about them. There's a little bit of statistical history. Amari Hutchinson might be exciting, but at the moment when he comes on, I'm like, which one are we getting? And I think Matt, John Jules will be the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't be signing John Jules. I mean, he didn't play that much for us, really. He was out from November onwards, was he not?
Scored that goal of the year, didn't he, at Shrewsbury that everyone raved about? Which
that was a very good goal. Yeah, I mean, the way he tracked
it was a goal. It wasn't a very good goal. It was a goal. It was a goal. It was a great goal. It was just a goal.
It was a great goal.
Maradona against England, Matt.
They don't have to be. He went back and backtracked and got it and scored a really good goal.
But
whether or not he's a champion,
really good goal now. It's a really good goal now, mate.
That was goal of the season for me.
It's a goal. It's a goal.
I think he was a good player. Well, what I saw of him, he looked a good player, but I think we can do better than that in the championship. You got to bring in. Look, he's about the player profiles, isn't he? You talk about Scarlett of someone of that ilk. Is he going to be any different than what Caden Jackson would give you? Like you saw yesterday. I mean, he's just a pace. He's pacey, isn't he, Scarlett? I think we've got that in Jackson. So what the other profile might be missing if you get another striker in, I'm not 100% certain at the moment.
It's a Wesley. It's a mountain.
It's a big unit.
Because when Hurst goes off, you really do miss.
I know. We should get them. Big John Akindi. Get him in.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Colin Quayle. That's what I thought you.
Quayle's retired, unfortunately.
Get him out. Get it. Banya. Where is the Badger?
This was the first game at Portman Road in the Championship match since that Leeds game when Colin Quayle scored the winner back in 2019.
We were talking about this on the walk back.
He was on 45 grand a week at bloody Huddersfield.
He had twinkle toes, did old Colin Quayle. He could play for a big man.
When he signed, they said he's a striker, but he doesn't score many goals. I thought, blimey, we're not staying up then.
That's why Town signed him, isn't it? Let's be honest. Right, we've got time for one more. Going to get Frank on. Colin, Phil, 6:45, 8:45. Last word. Get yourselves on that one if you can. Frank, we'll leave Carl Edwards to one side because we know he's on the way out. We believe your loan spell or transfer. But what are your thoughts on the rest of the football club?
Well, I think it's going in the right direction. I think we're all agreed on that, aren't we, guys? Matt, Rich, and Martin. I mean, I think the future is bright. I mean, we can all be positive in times like this because we started so well. I mean, top of the table. Okay, it's only 2 games, and as I think Rich alluded to, it's 44 more cup finals, and the way Ipswich have been playing, I think they've been playing to the very peak of their abilities to some extent because they played the last 2 games as if they were cup finals. I have to say, really maximum effort from all the players. It's a team game, and they are personifying that in every respect. And I think, can they sustain that for another 44 games? That's the big question, Mark.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think they could, but I think we do need a couple of additions, especially in central defence. I would keep Elkin Baggett. I think I said it the previous time. Don't let him go out on loan. We're short enough as it is, so we need him. The idea about another goalkeeper to support Hedladi, I think it's possible because if we succumb to another injury, a serious one, as in the case of Christian Walton, then we're going to struggle, aren't we? So maybe a stand-in, a short-term loan deal would be the solution for that.
Yeah, till January or something.
Yeah,
good point. You never know. Who would have thought Walton would have such an innocuous injury? That would be such a long-term effect on us.
That's not what Frank says there because Slicker was brought in as a number 3, right? I know he played well the other night against Bristol Rovers. Fair play. He had a very good game and he got man of the match. But is he really going to be one of these players, Frank, that say Alecki gets injured next Saturday at QPR and he's out for 3 months? Does Kieran say, right, we're going to chuck you in?
I think at the moment he would have no choice, would he? As we haven't got someone to replace him. But in all seriousness, I think he's probably thinking, get an experienced keeper on loan, maybe from the lower divisions, who's done the rounds and has performed consistently well over a period of time. I think that would be the way going forward that he's probably sort of thinking. But I have to say, Hedlardi, you know, there was talk when Kieran Slicker came in, the reason he was coming in, oh, that's it, Hedlardi's on his way out. Remember that? All that talk. Well, that didn't materialise. And football is about, you know, moments of good fortune. It's life itself encapsulated into a season. And I'm really happy for Hedlardi. I think he deserves his chance, and I think he's already surprising people. And I'm desperately hopeful that he can sustain it and even become number one. I think his distribution he's quicker than Christian Walton when it comes to. It's riskier, but he's quicker. He doesn't hold on to the ball as long and look around. No, he's already got it in his mind who he's going to distribute to. Now, it's risky, we know that, but it's exciting, and it does give Ipswich that counter-attacking option, and it's much more effective more quickly, in my view.
Before I let you go, Frank, because we are running out short of time, I've got a comment from Lewis, and I'm not going to ask you anything to do with the mole, because we don't like speculation on this platform, but Lewis Robinson, Saturday, Tuesday like this is relentless, and we need a stronger squad to give competition in key areas. 2 champ games with a week apart, which have been played like cup finals, is not a real barometer. How many are we short, in your opinion, Frank, in terms of squad and quality?
2 to 3. Central defender. Definitely. We don't need any more midfielders, do we?
No.
So I would say central defender, another attacking speedy forward like Yazarun Raksaki, as somebody suggested. And the only other place is a goalkeeper support. So we probably need that other goalkeeper.
And if you bring that centre-half in, you've mentioned earlier in your comments about Baggett, how you'd keep him. If you brought that centre-half in, would you then look to loan Elkin out for game time, or are you still keeping him part of the squad even though he's then de facto 5th centre-half?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? That's the job a manager has to do. And although I was a manager at amateur level and player manager, I don't envy his position when he has to make those decisions. To be honest.
What would you do, Frank?
Yeah, I think, in that context, that's why I wasn't a very good player manager. And I have to say, before I go, Stephen, Adam will not like him, because in that conversation he said, at the end of the day, 3 times. 3 times. Gosh, ban him from the network.
No, never. We love a good. Heidi in the chat said she misses the beeps. Frank, you'll probably come a little bit too late for that, but the beeps in the background, they have been missed. Frank, we appreciate you coming on. Look after yourself. Hope to speak to you soon. We're live again tonight, 8:45. Heidi misses the beeps when Stephen's on.
Beeps, yeah.
I want to know who the mole is. I want to know who the mole is. Who is the mole?
I thought I saw a putty cat. I did. I saw it.
We all think it's interesting that everyone's sort of because of his age, everyone's sort of pointing at Baggett to go out and get game time with someone else. I would argue you could have exactly the same argument with Edmondson. Missed loads of games with injury. It looked rusty in the pre-season. Obviously, he played Bristol Rovers the other night. He could be a candidate for a loan, and keep Baggett. It's whether or not McKenna thinks he's getting the value out.
He's your right-sided player for Wolverhampton. He's the reserve for Wolverhampton, whereas Baggett at the minute, he's your Burgess. So it depends where they go. Look, if we didn't get another centre-half, I'd be comfortable, Matt, to keep Baggett because I like him. I think he's a really good player. You know, he's really good. And sometimes you do, like you said on Friday, you do have to trust the youngsters. You do have to say, right, we're going to give you your time now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And McKenna would do that.
I just think people put the magnifying glass on Baggett because of his age, but McKenna might look at him and think I'm going to get more value out of Baggett than Edmondson, and Edmondson go out on loan or be sold or whatever. Who knows? I'm certain we're going to lose some players between now and September the 1st. I would have thought. Now, whether or not there's going to be people to come in to replace them remains to be seen. But
there is a couple of injury marks in the squad. You know, Walton, for example. They'll probably know behind the scenes. But how long is he out for? If you get a goalkeeper in, that might signal long term.
Yeah.
Harry Clark, the Achilles. How troubling is that? Is he back fully?
Not training, is he?
This is
Kieran
Kieran
referenced the harder grounds as well.
So are you going to see a right back cover, come in?
But realistically now, do hang on. Hard grounds. Do they play on hard grounds? Because I know yesterday Martin probably sat there, Matt, before the game and at half time. There's fucking water being fired all over the place. I could see you. I could see you like this.
Raging.
Shaking your head.
And then the first thing Burgess did in the second half was slip on his fucking.
There's no. You still owe me that £5 from there.
Yeah, I thought that.
I do. Well, I've got €3 in the chat from David. So that's €3 of it coming your way. All right. We appreciate that. But we're back live tonight, 8:45 for more ITFC debate reaction. Rate the teams. You can come on the show. I know Colin and Phil sadly couldn't get on, but they're more than welcome to come on the 8:45 show. The last word. But this has been Talking Town. We've done an hour and 50 seconds.
First job you need to do this afternoon.
Yeah.
Can you do a little clip for me where you were saying, if we get to 6,500, you'll wear a Norwich shirt and I'll give away 2 tickets. Get it clipped up. Let's get it on the socials. We want to see Gov wearing a Norwich shirt for Derby week.
Find the minute mark for me and I'll do that. We've got a 250 like target. It's a hit. The like button. But here's the man from Del Monte. He's very happy. This is the crunchy Richard Moss. I am the Gov. This is Talking Town. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. And I'll see you tonight, 8:45.